Oh my God, is this snowing in the nuke yard? So we've had low pressure over us for the last week, 10 days now since I've been back from the UK, and it's really made everything different and difficult. In some respects, it's held over some very intensive early swarming, and in other respects, it's been a pain because our nectar flow is kind of just stalled. But like today, so you can see we've got thunderclouds around, but if you get a chink in the sunlight like we got now, the sun comes out, the bees just erupt from all these hives, you know, and you know, it's just unreal. It's like living in, you know, in a paradise. It is so beautiful. There's look at these thunderclouds here. Look, you can see how dark they are, man. You know, my kind of point is, it's just like, this is beekeeping personified. You forget what it's like when it's bad, and you get those bad parts and you kind of soldier on. And then you get a moment like this again where it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can see all that like gossamer, but what it is, it's like floating down. What it is, that's the seeds. You can see it up there. That's the seeds from the early goat willow, which is already, there's another load there, look. That's not flowers, that's seeds just about to fall. From early goat willow that's already actually falling out the sky. It's like, it's just incredible, nature, how 1 minute you're getting pollen off the goat willow, the next 3 or 4 weeks later you're getting the seeds off the pods. It's just absolutely amazing. And this, just to say again, is like a rare moment, you know. It's always slog, slog, slog. I'm nearly here now, just doing my last transfers. Some beautiful nukes here. I mean, you know, I haven't, where's my smoker? I haven't even lit my smoker today. And this is just incredible. So I've been transferring these bees over. Some of them are a bit too strong. Some of them are starting to make queen cells, but I'm dealing with that. I'm shaking each one of the colonies off each time and making sure there's no queen cells on each frame. And then I'm risking it. If I find one with a nearly sealed cell, I'm like, do I split this colony? But the problem is there's so many bees in it, and because the nights are cold and I'm giving them loads of space and they're going to be moved shortly, that's a big thing, because that usually stops anything swarming if you move it, basically, because it takes a few days for the bees to reorientate themselves. And if you cut out all those queen cells and give them space, I find that usually does a trick and holds them over till they get going again. Then they suddenly go, oh, we don't want to swarm now, we've lost that. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, just like unreal, you know, that chink between the clouds when it comes out, it just makes everything wonderful. I've been able to get in and out of this apiary for the last 2 weeks since I've been back. Even though we had rain, it just didn't rain enough to make the ground sodden again, and what we've had has sunk in. So it's really nice. This is the next thing now, I've got to come in with the brush cutter, and that's next week's job. Is now I've got around all the hives. Next week's job, I'm straight into the apiary maintenance again, because the week after we're going to be pulling honey. So, man, it's just full on, just about catch up, and then dive into the next major workload that's got to be done. So what I've done here is these have been transferred. They've got 4 extra frames, for example, every single one that's going into a nuke like that, sorry, a hive like that. I'm running out of hives, which is great, so I'm using up all my spare boxes. They're all been emptied and they're all mounting up back at home. But then I'm going to take these to apiaries and do the final fill up, and then we are away. Just look at that seed blown in the wind. Look, can you see it there? It's just incredible. It's like it's snowing, you know? Really weird. But unless you kind of know what it is, it takes you, how can that be? Seeds falling out the trees this time of year. It happens every year. Some places I go to, the ground is so thick with them, it's almost like a carpet, you know. Incredible stuff. That goat willow seeds anywhere and everywhere. But, so, look at that there. I don't know if you can see that huge cloud. There's just been a gust of wind because we've got kind of showers bombing around, and the The seeds, there it comes, look. The seeds coming off it are absolutely amazing. There's even clumps of it, look. It's absolutely weird. Wow. Snowing in mid-April, but not snowing at all. Beautiful weather. So this is how you can waste loads of time in the middle of a cornfield in middle of April. Swarm came from my apiary over there. One of my nukes, actually, this is a nice queen. She's marked. I found her in the ball. I put her straight in, and now all the bees are making their way in, fanning beautifully. I'm gonna have to come back tonight and move this, obviously, because I won't be able to move it now because they're going to take too long to go in. But in the middle of a cornfield, you do ask the question, why on earth do they hit the ground? Because they were going round and round in the air, so I tried the tinking thing with my hive tools, and they seemed to stop where I was going. And then I came back after without hopefully damaging too much of this nice field of corn, but a lot of it will stand up again anyway. And the bees are now going into the nuke. I've got a bit of sugar in there on a frame. I've got full frames. It's an old nuke from last year, but they'll love cleaning that out. But the weather is showery. You can see we had a shower and it poured down before, and the bees just carried on. So I got all my work done in the apiary there. There was actually 2 colonies that swarmed. One's in the other nuke, you can see there. This is what happens when you kind of get to the end of your circuit, when you're doing your checks. But this kind of thing just reminds you of what beekeeping is all about. And no matter what your intentions are, often you never get much done when you find this. But there you go. Lovely sight to watch. I'll just leave these bees to it now and go and finish my work over there and come back later and move the 2 nukes, one just there and this one, to a place in the apiary, and probably stick a feeder on because I can, and they'll guzzle that down. They're going to need it. There's lots of food around for the next 2 weeks, but the rapeseed is nearly over, and with this rain and the showers and the cold, it's not the best thing. Anyway, there you go. Happy bees. Well, my tickets arrived this morning, and it's a big thing for me here to get to this stage, to receive these. So I got 3,000 in the miel de forêt, which is the summer honey, 3,000 in the spring creamed, 2,000 in the buckwheat, both types, and 3,000 in the summer honey. So total 16,000 labels. Super, super pleased. The quality is actually way better than the ones I got here that were the original, because you can see the difference in colour there. It's like just shinier, better. These are more of a matte finish. That's the first ones I had to stick on by hand, just as an example. But these ones, much, much better quality. Really, really pleased with those. And that now is me done. I've got my label room machine out. I just tried to set it up preliminary. The job is brilliant that it does. And I'm going to obviously get to grips with using this machine more efficiently and better over the coming months, because it's going to save me a lot of time. But it's very simple. Basically, as you roll forward, the label comes out from underneath and the jar rolls onto it. So I am super happy with that. It's just like the next level for me. All the work I've done on my labels, on my jars, and getting it onto the machine have all come together to realize this part. So I can do the 6 labels that I've got on that machine. And when I will go for a security label, We're going to put one just above there that will come up over the top. And when I go for that, I will obviously have a wider label, but the label can go much more wider to encompass the new label when that comes online. But there won't be much of the design or the barcode to sort out. It'll just be an additional cutter, a different size label that will be with the cutter that comes up about probably an extra 3 centimeters on top of that one, and maybe a little bit more on the other labels. But there's all that to work out. But overall, super happy with the service I've got from the label company. Really nice the way they do things. If you actually scan this code, you get directly into the type of label, so you can reorder dead quick. Really pleased. Came this morning, dispatched yesterday. Brilliant work. Was not even expecting the labels to arrive this week. So as you can imagine, this makes me really happy. So we're now at the point where I am more autonomous. I can label in here when necessary. I can label a big batch up ahead of times when I start getting more orders in, so I can just take them off the shelf, put them in the warming cabinet if necessary to decrystallize any honey that's starting to crystallize, to give them a long shelf life. The thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is, as much as honey is the same whether it's liquid or crystallized, the general public do prefer honey to be liquid. And that is always a problem for beekeepers, but it's manageable if you know how to handle honey, and it's manageable if you decrystallize the honey properly at the start. So for us beekeepers, it doesn't matter if it does get crystallized during the process of handling and putting it into the barrel, blah, blah, blah. It's not a problem there. It's just how you get it to the client at the end of it in a beautiful condition and without damaging the honey by overheating it. So we heat it up to like 35, 36 for about 2 days, and it decrystallizes everything. And then it's, because all the crystals inside are completely broken down, it takes them much longer to recrystallize or to rebuild those crystal shapes inside the jar. So it's all about making sure that when you do that decrystallization, you do it properly, because if you leave any crystals in the jar, they just grow back really quick. So another milestone for me, really pleased. Things are progressing.